What's up, I'm WIDEBODY Billy. Welcome to my channel. I had many people wondering how I make my wide bodies, and in this video I'll show you how I make them with this Mustang. So let's get right into this custom. After we cracked open this Mustang, Matchbox did a really great job on this casting. It has a lot of details. Get yourself one of these round metal shaving bits and a Dremel. Please use safety glasses so the metal shavings don't fly into your eyes. Carefully Dremel out the rivets. You can also use a drill and a 3/16 drill bit to remove the rivets. Drill it on center so the tab comes off perfectly. Disassemble the car. This is the paint stripper I use. It's the cheapest one I found at Walmart. It works pretty good. Drop your car in. Let it sit there for an hour. Here it is after I washed it. I use this dull X-Acto knife to remove the excess paint left over. You can also use a paper clip to remove the excess paint. Get yourself a steel brush. I found these at dollar store. This is what it should look like after you properly brushed it. Get your Dremel again. And shave off the plastic tabs holding the wheels. Get your plastic base and shave it down completely flat. You're gonna want it completely flat like this. Get yourself some tires. I'm using these 5-spoke Real Riders chrome for the build. Break apart the axle. Test fit the wheels. I'm gonna shave down the wheel fenders because I want to make the car lower. Mark the part of the fender you're gonna shave down. I use this flat metal shaving bit with a rounded end to shave down the fenders. Now find the design that you're going to make on the car. I chose this as my wide-body design for my Mustang. Get an empty aluminum can. Cut the aluminum can apart. Cut a little square out of it. And with the square, cut it into 4 even strips. Get yourself liquid super glue. I found this at dollar store. Apply it to your fender. Then apply the metal strip to the fender. Hold it in place until it dries. Bend the metal strip inwards. If the metal sheet came loose, apply some more super glue behind the fender. You're going to want the metal sheets to be aimed downwards. If your metal sheet is aimed upwards, One way we can fix it is by cutting a slot on top of the fender. Then bend it inwards. And now it's a perfect fender. Scrape off the excess super glue so when we apply the epoxy putty on the car, it sticks on properly. This is the epoxy putty that I use. I found at AliExpress. It's a 2-part compound epoxy putty that works pretty good. Get yourself one of these cutting mats. I found this at dollar store. Get some water, pour it out. Use the water to prevent the putty to stick to your hands. Get your 2 compounds. You can roll it up into 2 balls or into 2 squares. Whatever makes it easier for you to get 50-50. Mix it up really good. It has to be the same consistency, like this. And now you're ready to apply. Divide it into 4 even parts. Get your car and start to slowly apply the epoxy putty. Use the water to evenly spread out the putty. And once you're done applying all the putty, you're gonna have to leave it cure overnight or 24 hours to fully dry. I like to leave it upside down so it doesn't stick to anything. Once it's been 24 hours, you can check to make sure it's fully dried. One way you can check is by scraping it with a knife, and if it's hard, then you can start sanding it already. Remove the metal sheets with some pliers. Get yourself some sanding paper. I bought these at dollar store. And some sanding pads. I found these at Walmart and Home Depot. Get your sandpaper, a piece of cardboard, and a glue stick. Spread out the glue evenly. Apply the sandpaper. And here you go, you got a sanding block of your own. I use a wood block to help me sand while making wide bodies. A metal caliper is my main tool I use to measure wide bodies to make it even. Please use a mask as it gets very dusty. First step is to even out all the fenders on each side. To make sure all the fenders are even, use the caliper to measure each fender, and if one is sticking out a little too much, sand it down. You can use the block as a reference to make it straight. After you sanded down all the fenders evenly, it's time for step 2. Get a marker and mark out the general shape that you're going to make the fender into. Next, we're going to flatten the bottom and make it completely flat. Get a piece of sandpaper and sand it completely flat. This is what it should look like after you sanded it properly down. Now I'm going to even out the fender to make it even with the hood. I'm going to chip away at the fender until the door gap. Next, I'm gonna mark where the fender is gonna be rounded off. Chip away at the fender until it's round. Sand the fender down to a general round shape. Get a strip of 80 grit sanding paper and roll it up. And sand down the wheel arch to make it round and perfect for the wheel to fit in. Measure the wheel arch to make sure that it's even on both sides. And now I'm going to use the rolled up sanding paper to make a tucked wide body or a rolled wide body. Here's after I sanded the fender down. For more sanding precision, take a sanding pad and cut it into a square, then use that for sanding. To carve out your headlights, get a sharp X-Acto knife and chip away until your preferable design. Here's the car after I finished the wide body on the front end of the car. Next, I'm going to shape out the back fender. I'm going to chip away at the fender until the door gap to make it even on both sides. Here's the back fenders after I shaped both of them. To do small repairs or pinholes like this, mix up some epoxy putty. Apply a very little amount of epoxy putty to the place you're going to fix. And with the leftover epoxy putty, apply it to a different wide body that you're working on. As you can see, I'm working on a few wide bodies. After you let the epoxy to dry for 24 hours, you can sand it down. Use a sanding pad to even out the repairs. For the final sanding prep, use a very light 1000 grit sanding pad. I'm going to make a front lip for the car, so I'm going to take some polystyrene sheets from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to mark out the design I'm going to cut out. Cut out the plastic and measure it. Apply some super glue. Press it down and hold it in place. Make sure it's even. Cut off the excess plastic. And sand it down. And now that I'm done with the bodywork, I'm going to do the wheels. Get an X-Acto knife and cut off the excess plastic tabs left over. You're going to want it completely flat like this. Get 0.5mm polystyrene and cut a little piece off. And super glue where you cut off the tabs. Get a file and file down a slot like this. Get a clear paper clip. Cut it so you get a long straight metal piece. Remove the clear plastic coating covering the metal. Place the metal paper clip in the slot and glue it down. Press it down while it's drying. To speed up the drying process, sprinkle some baking soda so it dries instantly. And that's going to be your axle. Remove the excess plastic on the interior. You're going to want to completely flat like this. Assemble your car back again. Put on the wheel. I'm going to cut off the excess paper glue that's sticking out right here. And make it completely flush like this. Get your caliper and measure the spacing between the tire and the base. And with that measurement, evenly scratch out on the aluminum sheet, then cut it out. Cut off a little piece. Roll it up. Place the spacer on the axle, then the tire. If the tire is sticking out the fender, you can sand down the spacer to make it even. You can also sand down the wheel arch to make the wheels fit better. Glue in the wheel spacer. Get a piece of paper clip that still has the plastic on. With the X-Acto knife, cut a little piece off. Put the plastic piece at the end of the axle, and then carefully put a little drop of super glue on top of it. Spin the tire to make sure the glue didn't glue the tire on the axle. Fit check it. Here's the reason why I use paper clips for my axles, because it doesn't wobble at all. Compared to the stock axles, it wobbles a lot. Here's the car after I did all 4 of the tires. It rolls perfectly. Get yourself helping hands from Hobby Lobby and a foam block. And now we can spray the car. Here's the primer that I used to spray the car. Here it is after I sprayed the primer. I'm going to use an airbrush to apply the main paint. Here's the color I'm going to use. Do a 50-50 water and paint. Here's after I mixed it. I'm going to do light coats. This is the clear coat that I use for all my cars. I do 1 coat of clear coat before I apply all the decals. I use acrylic paints from Walmart to do all my details. Get an old card, add a drop of paint, and I'm going to slowly paint the lip of the car and the taillight. I got myself car things, license plate, water decals. Add some water. Cut a piece off. Drop it in the water. Get a Q-tip and slowly apply the water decal to the car. Here's the car after I did all the details to it. Here it is after I did the final coat of clear coat. It really made the color pop. Lastly, I'm gonna do the interior of the car. I'm gonna snip off the old steering wheel. I'm gonna add this 3D printed steering wheel. And I'm gonna paint some red seat belts to the seats. And here's how my interior came out to be. Time to assemble the whole car back together. Get the main car. Put the windscreen, the interior, and the bottom plastic base together. Super glue it together. Close it tight. And now I'm done with this build. I want to give a huge thanks to Car Things for supporting me and being my inspiration. I'll also have to give him a big thanks for supplying me with decals and 3D printed parts. The main reason why I actually did this project was to surprise my friend for his birthday. As you guys seen, I'm working on a 5-part series of widebodying every car in a 5-pack. And also I'll be trying out magnets for my future projects. Stay tuned.